For a long time, this channel has been a major supporter for a guy like Derek Carr, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that's about to change anytime soon. But today, with the signing of a major contract extension for a guy like Derek Carr, that is going to be kind of the same thing here that we're going to continue to do is support this guy. A 3-year, $125.5 million contract extension. Oh boy. So essentially the contract, like we said before, it keeps him on with the Raiders, through the 2025 season. And I'm excited. I do think that this was the right choice by the higher ups. I think that Derek Carr is a guy that does lead by example. He's a guy that does lead his team and put them in the best possible position to be successful. However, this contract told me two things. Number one, Derek Carr is in a position where the higher ups think they can win with him, and that's great. That's absolutely great. On the other hand, this also tells me that there's no more excuses for Derek Carr. There's absolutely no more excuses. And don't get me wrong, we have been a channel in the past, and we've talked about how Derek Carr has never had a top 20 defense. I don't think he's even had a top 15 defense to my recollection. Has never had a top 20 defense, at least has not had a top 15, at the very least a top 20. Has never, in my mind, had the best weapons. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been good years when Henry Ruggs and everybody was all together, but let's be real. Henry Ruggs was catching on, and again, prayers for everyone involved in that situation. We'll continue to say that. But at the end of the day, I think I saw a tweet out too today talking about Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr and kind of comparing those two. And I won't lie, it was like, I think the stat was since 2018, and about how Kirk Cousins had more touchdowns and less yards, I think it was. But the point was, I think that their record was somewhat similar, and the fact that also, Kirk Cousins has had a better defense. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Vikings fan. I know how awful this defense has been, but statistically, the Vikings defense has been better than Raiders. The Raiders have not had the wide receiving core Derek Carr hasn't had the receiving core that Kirk Cousins hasn't had the running game, hasn't had near the help that Derek Carr has had. Derek Carr, in my mind, is the only reason that the Raiders have been successful in any capacity. And that's not just me trying to take a shot at anybody else, but their defense in the years past has been bad. It has just been straight up bad. Now, there were times last year where we saw them step up, specifically in the first 3 games of the season, where they beat what were almost playoff teams. I think it was I think the only team that wasn't a playoff team was the Dolphins, but other than the rest of the teams were playoff teams. They started off but beating 3, we'll call it 3 playoff teams, okay? Because the Dolphins won 10, 11 games. So they beat 3 playoff teams. They finished out the season on a 4-game win streak and beat their AFC West rivals, the Chargers, to go to the playoffs. And they lost by a touchdown to the Cincinnati Bengals in the eventual AFC Super Bowl participants. And the Bengals were some nasty stuff last year. They were absolutely nasty. So as we move forward here, I think the biggest thing to take away is, for me at least, or that I'm looking at, is Derek Carr has never been the problem in Las Vegas, and I will say that until I'm blue in the face. He's never had a top 15 to top 20 defense. I don't care how many times I have to say that. But the excuses are gone. That's it. That's the reality of the situation. Because you've got a defense now that, with Patrick Graham, that's going to do a lot of different things with this defense. This is going to be nasty. We talked about it, how this defensive line is going to be stacked with Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, Bilal Nichols on the inside. Also got Jonathan Hankins back. So, that defensive line is looking mean. Also, you've got a lot of help in the secondary with guys like Anthony Avett, Rock Ya-Sin, Darius Phillips this offseason. Love it. I really think that this is a quality group of DBs that is going to really help out this franchise. Also, you talk about, you've got young and upcoming stars in the secondary, guys like we've mentioned, Nate Hobbs, Trayvon Moehrig, all those guys, even guys like Trayvon Mullen. Also, we can keep going. Denzel Perryman at linebacker rejuvenated his career last year. You also brought Jayon Brown in, Kyler Fackrell, Malcolm Kuntz. The list goes on. This defense is not going to be the problem. I don't think it's, now when I say the problem, now it might let up a couple of games, but it is not going to be the Achilles heel of this team anymore. And I think that's what we have seen from this entire front office with Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. They've put a huge emphasis on getting quality players at a fraction of their normal price. Obviously Chandler Jones is kind of the exception here, but he's a quality player at a good price. He's a little spendy, but I like the price overall because, guys like Danielle Hunter in his prime is going to get $24-25 million. I think he is right now with the Vikings. Anyway, the point is, this brass has shown that they are capable of rebuilding this defense. This defense is hungry. It's ready to go, and I think it does come down to what Derek Carr and how far Derek Carr will take the Raiders this year. There are no more excuses. And again, I was not a guy that was making excuses for Derek Carr. I was calling a spade before, because look at Patrick Mahomes. Look at all the other good quarterbacks on good teams. You talk about also the Bengals last year. You talk about the Rams. All had great defenses, or at least middle of the pack to better defenses. The Raiders haven't had that in like a decade. It's been probably a lot longer than a decade. But the reality of the situation is the fact that Derek Carr has never had a top 10 defense, never top 10, 15, top 20 defense. Give this man a top 15 defense, and that's the thing. This defense doesn't need to be amazing. It doesn't. Keep the opposing team out of the end zone. Maybe let up on a couple of touchdowns. Let up a couple less touchdowns a game, and this is over. Derek Carr can lead this offense. He will lead this offense if he's got the right defense and tools around him. He's got the right tools now. Devontae Adams, an improved offensive line from a lot of other offensive lines around the NFL. I would like to see maybe another starting right tackle and more competition on the inside. Also, I know Denzel Good is going to start. Okay, for those of you in the comment section, yes, Denzel Good is going to start. But at the end of the day, it is all on Derek Carr to lead the Las Vegas Raiders now. That defense is ready to go. That offense has weapons. It's got a good enough offensive line to get the job done. And I think it's all on Derek Carr. No more excuses. 3-year contract extension, big time stuff for the Las Vegas Raiders. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome, and we love every single one of you. In the description down below, you'll find all of our social media platforms, so give us a like and a follow there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com. or put in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about it all being on Derek Carr to lead the Las Vegas Raiders.